welcome to Reality Hour. I'm Adam Samuel. Today, we are wrapping up. It is the season finale recap of the X Factor Celebrity Edition. There is quite a bit to talk about, both on the show and outside, involving Simon Cowell. We will be talking about it all. Joining me for this podcast is my co-host, Eric. How you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing good. I kind of wish we wouldn't be talking about the Simon stuff that happens outside the show, because it's just completely depressing and terrible, and there's nothing redeeming about any of it. But we kind of have to, so let's do it.
But I feel like before we even get on, there is a lot to talk about with Simon Cowell. I feel like it's almost there's more Simon Cowell news than actual X Factor news. But I feel like we should not bury the headline. And we did have our winner. Our winner was announced. We had Megan coming in first place, Max and Harvey in second, Jenny in third, and V5 in fourth. V5 in fourth. 5, 4. Anyway, that means that since I had Megan on my draft, I get the crown. Yay.
You should be thanking Siri, because she gave you the coin flip, but you picked Megan first.
Eric, what are your thoughts on this winner?
The only possible good outcome.
I mean,
plain and simple.
There's actually one other thing we actually need to talk about, which is this is not a thing that American shows do, but on British competition shows like this, they actually release the voting results. So week by week, we can see who was doing well, how did things kind of shake up. I think the second biggest headline of it is that Megan was the winner every single week. But there is one other thing that I feel is a little bit noteworthy, Eric. You want to explain what it might be?
The fact that Megan won with 46% of the vote.
All right, the other big thing from it.
You can tell I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, Vinnie Jones got second place week 1 and 2. How the fuck was that possible?
That is stunning.
Yes.
Like really stunning.
You know what? We deserved him in the second place spot, because he would have been a perfect representation of how awful the season was.
We deserved that finale with him and Megan.
Yep. Simon in particular deserved that finale.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he came in second the first, the second. The third week he had a safety seat. The fourth week he was in the bottom 2. Survived against Kevin McHale. He actually had more votes than Kevin, which is a bit of a surprise. And then he went home the next week. Another big thing that kind of surprised me a little bit was that Max and Harvey they weren't doing as good as I might have thought. And also the fact that the closest anyone came to dethroning Megan's number 1 spot was in week 3, where Jenny Ryan was 0.2% away from beating her. Mm-hmm. That's insane.
Okay.
No other thoughts on the voting?
There are a lot of thoughts I could say about voting, but Megan won by more than I expected or two. I wrote down a note like 10 minutes before the results were released, but I think Megan won by 35% or more.
Yeah,
nope, 45% or more.
The finale vote, she ran away with it. Like,
she crushed it.
She absolutely ran away with it. I will say, well deserved. Even if it wasn't such a stacked season, I think she is still a very above. Like, she's a higher tier than we usually get. Like, the closest thing I compare her to would be like a Brian Justin Crumb on like in America's Got Talent singer. Like, there's someone who's better than we're used to. Like, of this caliber of talent, where they're just kind of so far. You know what I mean? A little bit.
I don't, because honestly, when I compare her to actually normal X Factor winner, she's one of the lesser ones that I've seen, actually.
All right. Do you have any high hopes for her future as a recording artist?
Kind of, sort of. I mean, her songs in the UK right now are number 5 on iTunes, number 20-something on iTunes. She has several songs in the iTunes charts right now. So she already has some chart success. We'll see if they can translate that to actual sales and streaming after her real music comes out. So let's find out.
All right. So here's how I think we're going to do this. I think we're going to actually hold off on the Simon Cowell information at the end. Let's kind of take a bit of a deep dive into the episode itself. We'll talk about the more ugly stuff towards the end. But for now, let's kind of, it was an all right finale. I mean, it happened. Did you enjoy it overall, the episode, Eric?
I didn't hate it.
I mean, I think we got a strong final
Couple
four.
things I liked. Yeah, I think if you would have switched out Jenny for Victoria, I think we would have had the
And
exact
V5
same.
for Olivia, and Jenny, and
No,
Max and Harvey for Kevin. That would have worked.
No, I agree with Olivia. I disagree on Kevin. But anyway, we could say I think we got 3 out of 4 right acts in the finale. Personally. And so it wasn't that bad. We got through all the terribleness last week and the week before and the week before and the week before. So, I thought, so let's just dive into the first round, which is my favorite topic of all, Christmas music. Hey, hooray, Two Jews talking about Christmas music.
You know it's that time of the year when you go on the iTunes chart and Mariah Carey is like number 10, like with her song. It always comes there, it like hovers. It's like how she keeps every year she just makes like another $1 million. What?
Speaking of that song, our first performance.
Speaking of that song, you stole my segue. We have kicking off the episode. It is V5. They are performing "All I Want for Christmas Is You," which is a song that you really would think would be so overdone that you would just hate it. But I still don't hate this song. I think it's. I mean, it is overdone to shit, but like it's still. I'm not bored of it yet, if that makes any sense.
Okay, because you only hear it 1 month a year, so it's fine, I guess.
It's like that South Park song. It's once a year. It's Christmas time.
That was the greatest episode, by the way.
All right. So, anyway, what did you think of their performance?
I thought it was good. Couple strong solos, good staging. I knew they were finishing in 4th. I think they deserved 2nd. I don't think that they're actually going to have the success that the other judges seem to think they have, especially after seeing the percentages in the vote. But, yeah, I mean, best of luck to them. They seem like nice girls.
Yeah, I'm looking at the results. Like, they were bottom, mid-tier. Like, they got here, like...
On the skin of their teeth.
On the skin of their teeth. And the funny thing is, while I was watching this episode, for, like, the tiniest of seconds, like, there's 5 girls... I almost had like a Fifth Harmony flashback. Like they were really trying to kind of portray them in that same kind of genre and style. I thought some of the solos were really good. There were 1 or 2 standouts that I thought were good. The thing is also with this song and the X Factor, the backing vocals are always so big. It kind of does overpower it a little bit. But overall, I enjoyed them.
Well, that's every girl group act on the X Factor, though, so...
Yeah, but it just kind of...
The solos were fine.
Yeah. I did feel like, why did we need to... What the format of the show was they had the 4 perform once, they cut 1 person, and then had the 3 remaining contestants perform again. Why didn't they just save it for the end? Why did we need that cut in the middle?
I don't know. Sorry. I don't have an answer for that question.
And we didn't get the, like... We got the voting results afterwards, but why did they just said, and the winner is, like, they didn't kind of do a...
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
We also just didn't get, like, a general finale. Usually, like, we get some shtick, we get some, some performers. We got, like, 1, but...
Yeah, we got 1, and... Yeah, we could have done without for 1, but...
Yeah. Anyway... So, moving on, we have Jenny Ryan doing Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
I want your thoughts on this one first.
I just can't with her voice. It doesn't feel right to me. Here's another thing I will say. I've watched a few seasons of The X Factor. I feel like every season there's like 1 contestant that like the producers and the creative team, they like rearrange them and make them into like they overdo their hair. They put them in like these ridiculous costumes. I'm thinking of like a Paige Thomas on the X Factor. Like they kind of just give them the whole like makeover, but it just goes too far and they don't look like a person anymore. Like they're kind of like Jenny's wearing like this huge ribbon. Like she doesn't look like, I don't know what I'm looking at. But I mean, the vocal was okay. It wasn't that bad. What about you, Eric?
For me, it was the best performance she gave by a mile of the entire show. And I say that as a Jew. Um, um, I and I also say that despite her standing on a carousel with the weird men holding umbrellas around her, what the hell was that?
I just can't I don't like the whole
I was listening
production of it. I would rather it just be about the voice, but I'm at the wrong show for that.
The good news was she actually, her voice this time was the first time that she didn't miss a single note and nothing sounded strained. I think this was her best performance.
Sure. For me, I was just saying that her voice it doesn't.
In general, yes, but
it doesn't sound right.
This was a rare exception, actually. I thought this one sounded good.
I would have given this though. This gets a B for me.
A B for me as well.
I mean, I don't think anyone's come close to Megan, but I mean, I don't know. Her voice just isn't for me. It's kind of where I'm at. But anyway, next up we have Max and Harvey. They are performing Last Christmas by Wham. I'll be honest, I actually know this song more from Taylor Swift because it was on Glee also. What did you think about this rendition?
Did you see what I wrote in my live blog?
I did not.
Okay, so I basically stole a comment from you, kind of, sort of. So, in terms
you stole a comment from me?
Kind of, sort of. I didn't credit it, but in a way, they kind of reminded me of Anthony Russell last year. Always a B. They're never an A. They're never a C. They're always just B. They're always just good enough.
That's a fair point. I mean,
it was a totally passable performance.
They were the runner-ups of the season.
Yeah.
And they just chugged right along. They didn't go anywhere. Just kind of stay the same. I didn't like their second performance as much, but we will talk about that in a minute. The thing is,
I like their second one a lot better than this one. What are you talking about?
We'll talk about it in a minute. But Last Christmas, I just feel like it's not a song you can really do much with. Which
is good because they couldn't do much with it. Even the song you could do much with.
So I guess it's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm like a bit at a loss. Like I don't. You could copy what I've said in the past about them and just put them for any performance because it's just right down the middle. It's like Megan is up here and kind of goes up, like maybe drops a tiny bit, goes up. They're like down here and they're just straight.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then you have Jenny, who's like. Anyway, yeah. So let's talk about our winner. So she is Megan McKenna. She's performing a Leona Lewis song, One More Sleep. And I think this was the first time we got anything somewhat close to an up-tempo from Megan.
Yeah.
And I will say this, do not take this the wrong way, but I think this was her weakest performance of the season.
And guess what? I'm going to echo you on that.
But it was her worst performance, but it was an A- still.
I didn't think it was an A-. I thought it was a B+. I did think it was her worst performance of the season.
Okay. Yeah, which is funny enough.
For a B+ for it to be your worst performance is a good.
Like that's impressive. Like it's like the Candace Glover. Like there's got to be, everything's really good. There's got to be one that's just gonna be the worst. It's not the worst in comparison to everything else, but of your own body of work, it's still an A- for me. Like I said, even at her worst, it's still pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, the song wasn't right for her necessarily, but it was fine. I mean, it was a fine performance. She had a few nice whistle notes, but I was more excited about her other two performances of the night.
Have you heard this song before? I haven't.
Yes, you have.
Where?
Last year on X Factor, Scarlett Lee was going to be a winning single.
Did we get winner single this season?
No.
No.
Not technically. I mean, we kind of sort of did, but not really.
All right. Well, Megan is fantastic as usual. Even her worst is still miles better than anyone else. Let's talk about Well, at this point, this was kind of the moment when the
Lost
vote is frozen. We get the Pussycat Dolls doing something, and
that was so weird because I know, first of all, Nicole can really sing, and for some reason in this performance she only sang like 10% of the part. And the other girls didn't sing at all, by the way. The other four did not sing a single live note the entire performance.
I don't know. To be honest, I fast forwarded through most of it, and by fast forwarded, I mean I skipped it on YouTube.
Good for you.
But yeah, so we lose V5 in 4th place. Honestly, I think it's this is the best outcome they could have hoped for. They somehow got here, and you can't be 4th place isn't something to be ashamed of.
I would agree.
All right, so we get round 2. So first up is Megan performing this, which is her original song. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was this the first song we heard from her?
On live shows, yes.
Yeah, so it's a stellar performance. Like I don't know what to say. It's another fantastic vocal. Great song. I just feel like her performances are kind of the same. I get that it's a repeat, but it's kind of the music's kind of the same a little bit.
I will say they actually changed it up a bit from the last time to this time.
I mean,
and it was better.
Did this chart beforehand?
Yeah, this was number 2 on iTunes when she first sang it.
Wow, that's pretty. I mean, good for her. I think she's got a chance. I feel like I don't like her in Simon's hands because he's kind of gross, but I think she's got a shot.
I hope she does.
All right, so let's talk about. This is the.
I think it was for me. Megan's performance of this was her best performance of the entire competition, and the best performance of the entire competition for me.
It's not that hard.
I mean, low bar, but
yeah, you know what? I'm gonna agree with you. I think it's she's consistently given A's. Like there's not that much to kind of pull from her. Yeah. But anyway, next up we have Jenny Ryan performing Edge of Glory, which I did write in my notes. I thought the intro was like okay. I'm like, all right, we're doing good. It's like we're like the ship is kind of going through rocky waters, but we're holding it together. We're still going. And then the up-tempo stuff happened, and I was like, that's kind of me. What did you think?
This was how they ensured that she wouldn't win. Plain and simple.
Can you imagine if she won?
No. But I will say, I would not have picked this as a reprise song, but it was. I mean,
it was. I'll tell you what it was.
It was a lot of drag queens on stage, which I like.
Over the top, kind of. Like I said, I feel like we should start looking for this every season. There's one contestant that like the costume designing people they zone in and they say we are going to what?
You're my canvas.
Exactly. Literally, like that's what they do. She doesn't look like a person. Like she's just so ridiculously dressed. It's so overdone. It's trying too hard. Like I said, it's she's trying to climb these mountains and she's just not that climber. Like you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Like there's easier things to do. I feel like she's trying these ridiculously hard songs that are kind of these mountainous things when she kind of could go for something easier. I don't think she needs to do these.
She could go on the kiddie slopes.
There's no shame in going on the kiddie slopes. Like she just sets the bar too high for herself. And I feel like that is her, well, it's not even her, it's the producers kind of tripping her up.
Yeah, sure.
All right. That's what I got for Jenny.
Okay.
Let's talk about Max and Harvey. They are doing Kiss You by One Direction. This was one of those really rare instances that almost never happen on the X Factor, where for like the opening bars of the music of the performance, the music is so low, that you can perfectly hear their voices, like perfectly, and it was weird to hear because you don't usually hear it so clearly and so like subtly. What did you think, Eric?
Um, this was like a performance that was designed to get them over Jenny into the second place. That's what it was. It starting outside on the bus, running into the studio, high energy, high production value. This was not an A performance for me, but I think it was actually closer than anything else they've done.
I feel like these people, like Max and Harvey, after the show, they are going to start a YouTube channel, and they're going to
They
be.
started off on the YouTube channel. They're just gonna go back to doing that again.
And you know what? Good for them. They're probably going to get a huge boost.
Yeah.
They're perfect. They're the exact kind of faces I can imagine on a YouTube channel with 4 million subscribers. If you know what I mean. Like they're.
Okay. I do have to talk about Simon's comments after this one.
All right.
Because yeah, he talked about how his favorite year of X Factor was 2010 because of One Direction. And I'm like, yeah, that was my favorite year too, when they came in third place and my favorite one.
Whenever a judge says it's my favorite, like they're just judges on these shows have no hindsight. Like they don't look back.
Well, he was saying that 2010 was his favorite year.
No, but well, I guess that totally invalidated my point.
Yes, it does.
Go on. I'm sorry.
And then he said that this reminded him of that year. I'm like, no, it doesn't. 2010 was a great year of X Factor. 2010 was the year where we had Matt Cardle, Cheryl Lloyd, Rebecca Ferguson, One Direction, the best Final Four ever, and almost in the right order. Probably not, but
what would have been the right order?
Matt deserved to win, and he won. Cheryl Lloyd should have been second. One Direction should have been fourth. Rebecca should have been third.
All right.
Fight me, internet.
I'm wearing the winner's crown. I've won the draft. But yeah, Max and Harvey, best of luck to them. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I
think that if there was an X Factor of a band right after this, and Simon wasn't going to find another boy band for that, I think they would get a record deal. But I think they got screwed over by the fact that they're in 2 shows this year. Anyway,
so I guess we should just get to the results. So, like we said, Megan wins. She performs again, which was a little bit weird. I mean, like she wins, and then she walked out as if she was performing like for votes again, and that was it. That was the X Factor celebrity, and
I kind of like the reprise. I like that the other contestants joined her on stage again. It felt like a traditional X Factor winning moment, sort of, and I liked that because most of this year just kind of sucked. So it was nice to see the right person win and see her celebrate. And I like how they don't. The one thing you could say about X Factor that you can't say, but they did. The one thing they do better than Idol is the winning moments are longer. That's it. About it.
The winner gets a 9.5 out of 10. The season gets a 3 out of 10. That's how I would put it.
But the winning moments on X Factor is what I'm talking about, and they always last longer. And that's by far the best of any of the shows still. The Voice just goes to credits like 30 seconds after they announce the name.
Thank God for that. That's if there's any one thing I would take from the shit show of a season, it would be the winner and that.
At least Megan got to sing and stuff.
Yes. So yeah, that was the season. I mean, I think one of the objectively worst seasons of any of these shows I think I've ever seen.
I will put it this way: for me, this was the worst season of X Factor I've ever watched.
It's worse than Idol 12, even.
Of course, it's worse than Idol 12. Idol 12 at least had 5 good weeks, or 4 good weeks at the end.
Yeah, this was rough, but we made it to the end. We got a worthy winner.
Yep.
It's funny. I almost would have wanted her on like an X Factor All-Star season, to see how she would actually do.
She wouldn't have done so great. It's good for her that there wasn't such a thing.
So Eric, we've talked about this entire season. Do you have any closing remarks on this show, this season? What is your takeaway? We've watched everything. What is the big moment for you? The big takeaway from this all?
For me, the big takeaway is that Simon never should do this ever again.
But he's doing it again in like a few weeks.
No, he's not doing this again. I'm saying never a celebrity edition ever again. That needs to...
it could work with the right celebrity.
No, it couldn't. The appeal of the show is watching people who weren't stars before becoming stars. That's the appeal of the show. No more celebrities. Never again. Simon, good for you for trying this, but please stop. Don't do this again.
Fair enough. And on that note, is there anything else you would like to talk about from the season, the episode, anything you want to touch on? Any last closing remarks?
My apologies to the last 2 seasons of American Idol. You were better than I thought you were.
Well, let's take a moment because we got a second here. So this season, this year is coming to a close. 2019 is leaving. So here on Reality Hour, we have covered 4 shows. We covered The X Factor. We covered American Idol. We covered America's Got Talent proper. And America's Got Talent, the Champions. So since we are at the end of the year, just really quickly.
And we also touched on Masked Singer, but...
all right, fine. The Masked Singer. So 5 shows, which let's remove actually the Masked Singer just for this question. How would you rank these seasons? I wanna know.
America's Got Talent, the Champions 1. America's Got Talent 2. American Idol 3, X Factor 4.
Yeah, we're gonna also, I think, do a bit of a year recap at the end of the season. At the end of the year, we'll probably end up doing that. But I just want to say, for me, oh boy, my favorite season, I'm gonna say, was American Idol, just because I'm forever biased. It gave me my favorite contestant of the year, which was Lacey.
Really?
So there was that. So I would put that number 1. Winner was terrible. Then I would probably I'd put the Champions, then regular AGT, and then X Factor UK. Long gap, X Factor UK.
I'm talking about my favorite winners of the 3 shows that had winners we haven't already had. Megan's my favorite of the 3 winners.
4 winners.
Well, if we're including Champions, Shinlim's my favorite, but then Megan.
All right. Well, there is actually no Masked Singer to talk about because there was no episode last week, but we will still be covering it here on Reality Hour, kind of moving forward. We might do the episodes a little infrequently because there is kind of less to talk about. It's a bit of a lighter show.
We will probably do a quick summary of X Factor, a band, which airs 4 episodes in 1 week. So we're not doing one for each episode.
Oh, God. Anyway, I think at that point we can put a lid on the X Factor UK. We've finished the book. We're going to close it and put it aside. I think the big news that we kind of need to talk about is regarding one of our judges on the X Factor UK. So, to set the scene, on America's Got Talent this past season, we had 2 new judges, Gabrielle Union, Julianne Hough, Julianne Hough is not the biggest player in this story, but I do still want to talk about her in a few minutes. So they were the judges. They were new judges along with Terry Crews, although he was kind of
there before.
He was sticking around from the Champions. So this story kind of broke just this past week that that Gabrielle Union and Julianne Hough were fired. At least that was you never know with these kinds of stories because they say they were not renewing their you never know what was really going on. And then after the fact, Gabrielle Union kind of came out with some accusations about the show, specifically, ironically enough, Jay Leno, who Eric is already not a fan of, and Yeah, this story is really bad, and it gets really worse because if like I said, this is just allegations right now, but if what she said is true and she's not wrong, then Simon Cowell looks really, really bad, Eric.
Yep. I'm willing to believe that she's telling the truth about the vast majority of this, if not all of it. Um, I can hold that belief. I can say that she should not have been fired for this reason, for any of the reasons that she was fired for.
She should be fired because she was a terrible judge.
Yes, that's what it should be. She should be fired because she was an awful, awful judge and added nothing of value to the show. But she should not be fired for asking people their pronouns. She should not be fired for saying that maybe America would like black contestants on the show, and she should not be fired for telling Simon to stop smoking in Sideburns against the fucking law. She should not be fired for complaining about racist and stupid things that Jay Leno and Howie Mandel said.
There was something Howie Mandel said. I don't remember exactly what he said something like, don't quote me on this. I think he said something about was it a choir? There was some predominant.
Yeah.
And he said that maybe they should sing a song from The Lion King, and that is absolutely awful. But that is also the most Howie Mandel thing to say. Like when that came out, I was like, he totally said that.
Yeah.
I do not doubt for a second that Howie Mandel. It's so specific that it's so awful that
it just has to be him.
It has to be him.
And so honestly, my thing is, I don't like anybody in this story because I hated Gabrielle as a judge. I think the way she talked about Cody and stuff actually made me kind of nauseous, as I said during my season. I do find it kind of funny that disability seems to be the only group that you're allowed to not represent accurately on TV and get away with. But I'm not saying that the rest of it's okay. It's not. Obviously, she should not have been fired for these reasons. But I am saying that it's kind of weird that everyone's 100% sympathetic towards Gabrielle here. I'm not. I didn't like her as a judge. I feel like if these were the reasons she was fired, they were the wrong reasons, and she should not have been fired.
I mean, the whole thing with Simon Cowell smoking, like, this is kind of something that's never been addressed on the show. Like, you never see pictures of him. I've never seen a picture of Simon Cowell smoking, but you'll notice kind of during commercial breaks, like once they return, you'll sometimes see him just casually, like, or not casually, running back in. And I think this is a case that with Simon, he's kind of built himself this little, like, empire of kind of just, he feels like he's above it all. Like, he's kind of the person in charge, and I feel like he wants to be in charge. And I feel like when things don't go his way, he's going to do something pretty ugly about it. And the fact that all right, forgetting the fact that she was a terrible judge on the show, the fact that he would fire her for those, that's just really shitty.
Yes, like, unbelievably shitty. Let me stress that. I didn't like her as a judge of a show. I'm glad she's gone. But this is not how she should have been gone. This is not why she should have been gone. She should have been gone because she didn't add any critiques and she never gave any contestants anything that would help them improve.
I did actually see something really funny recently on Twitter. Tapeface, who posted a picture of him as a judge. Like, he photoshopped him into all four faces. He's like, I heard you guys need a judge. Can you imagine Tapeface as a judge? That would be great. But anyway, one other big player that I feel like no one's really talking about, and is this Julianne Hough. It's almost funny how she is trying so hard to distance herself. Like, as much as Gabrielle is kind of, she is going to war over this, as she should, but Julianne Hough is like, I am not in this. Like, she's like, I had a great time. There was no problems. And just reading just reading the articles are just hysterical because Gabrielle is she's like, we are doing this. We are going to bring Simon down. Julianne is like, nope. She's like, everything is cool.
I love my NBC overlords.
It reminds me of that gif of the dog in the burning house And he's just like, this is fine. Like that's what Julianne is trying to do. And I do also want to bring a mention to this. This is a story that Eric actually just brought to my attention literally 30 minutes before we went live, which is as awful as Simon Cowell is as a judge, and Howie Mandel too, the greatest judge that we ever got on any of these shows, the person who I will always take this person's word. Howard Stern, who I feel like if anyone has any right to kind of complain about America's Got Talent, it has to be him because of how his ousting was kind of handled. He went in on Simon. What did he say, Eric?
I'm looking up the quote. He has set it up that the men stay no matter how old they are, no matter how fat they are, no matter how ugly they are, no matter how talentless they are. He continued, what Cal manages to do on all his shows is he constantly replaces the hot chicks with hotter chicks and younger chicks, which is so obvious.
But he's not wrong. He's 100% right.
Absolutely right. And I love that he called Howie old, fat, ugly, and talentless.
I love Howard Stern. Like Howie and Simon are both very, very trashy and very, very gross, as we've been saying for a while. Although it's starting to not be as fun to kind of hate Howie as I kind of do, because now it's just kind of getting bad because he's just an idiot. And that line, I swear, is so Howie. Like, it's so stupid. It's such a terrible thing that it's exactly something he would say. But yeah, Howard Stern, he's the man. He's the man.
I will never get over him calling Howie talent. What was it? Old, fat, ugly, talentless. Perfect. That's Howie Mandel for you.
I feel he is my favorite judge on any of these shows. Like any of these shows. I can't believe we lost him for Simon. Like we went from so high to the low lows. Anyway, that's the controversy. And it's still a developing story. We don't know what's going to happen. I feel
nothing's going to happen.
Nothing's going to happen. Exactly. And on that note, I want to say I'm Adam Samuel. You can find me on Twitter at AdamSoapbox. Where can we find you, Eric?
Eric_Ascher on Twitter and ericascher.com.
So yeah, that was our coverage of the X Factor Celebrity. I don't think we're going to be doing a season recap. I don't think it really needs it. Would you?
Here's the season recap. Don't do this again.
Don't ever do this again. And yeah, we will be back. The schedule for Reality Hour is going to be shifting a little bit because
follow us on Twitter and you'll find out when we're
recording. You can follow us on Twitter for updates. We will tweet about when what's the situation going forward. It's just going to be The Masked Singer until maybe we do a little bit of the band. And then America's Got Talent, The Champions isn't back until end of January?
2nd. January 2nd.
Oh. So we might be on a little bit of a break until then. But until then, if you've watched these podcasts, if you've stuck with our coverage of the X Factor Celebrity, first of all, you are very strong.
You're a stronger person than most, and we appreciate you suffering through it with us.
Yes. If there's anything misery loves, it's company. Eric, I want to say thank you to you. Perfect attendance on these podcasts. Thank you for sticking with me and being the co-host. All right, guys. Until next time. Peace.